All right, we in here.
Here we go.
What's up, Playboy?
What's up, man?
Last show we had guests.
Yeah.
Don't really do guests because we don't know how it's gonna mesh, but that went very well.
That did go very well.
The guys from High Sports 510 podcast. High Score, my bad. High Score, my bad for messing up the name. We was over here watching the dunk contest and the 3-point shootout. It's full of February festivities. I think in February you get the Grammys, you get the Oscars, you get NBA All-Star Weekend, you get Valentine's Day, you get what else do you get in February? President's Day.
Oh yeah, that's coming up.
And they call it Black History Month. Right? All mass.
What do you mean they call it Black History Month?
It's called Black History Month. February is called Black History Month. Right?
Isn't that what it is? I don't know why February is the Black History Month, but
in February. So my thing is like, why do we even have Black History Month, right? If in February, like my daughter is in 7th grade, and they didn't do anything for Black History Month. They didn't learn anything about any abolitionists or anything. They do what they did when I was in school. They teach about Martin Luther King. I have a dream. What do you know about Martin Luther King? Right?
Yeah.
And there's my problem with them calling it Black History. Sorry, I'm watching the dunk contest and I just seen something crazy. My problem is they do Black History Month, right? Mm-hmm. When it's really just American history.
It's a part of American history.
So instead of just calling it something to like you're trying to like give a carrot to black people, instead of doing that, why don't you just do what's right and incorporate all of the black experience, which is American history, in the American history textbooks? Yeah.
You know what was pretty incredible to me was that I had just watched this documentary about Malcolm X.
On Netflix.
And it was on Netflix. It's very new. It's called Who Killed Malcolm X? And within that documentary, I actually learned so much about Malcolm X. As a person, as a radical, his beliefs, and
you didn't know that stuff.
I didn't know anything.
A lot of that stuff I knew just, from reading his book and everything, but that was later on.
Yeah,
I did see the movie as a kid.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the one with Denzel.
Yes.
Yeah. I really feel like in school, Malcolm X was kind of labeled as like an extremist, and we really focused on Martin Luther King.
It was almost like he was a bad person.
Yeah, but me learning about him, I feel like he's one of the dopest motherfuckers to ever walk the earth.
Watch your language. One of the most inspiring human beings.
Yeah, incredibly inspiring, especially how he phrased his ideas.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's always very logical, and that's just something that should be in our regular social studies books in 3rd grade or whatever. Whenever you start doing American history.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think that's the more relevant American history, and it's not like it happened hundreds of years ago. You're talking not even 60 years ago.
Yeah, there are people that witnessed his death that are still alive today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our parents were alive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
This was going on.
But going along with your saying, that should be more encompassed in terms of just regular learning history.
Kids should know about Sojourner Truth.
Yeah.
And John Brown and they should know more about George Washington Carver and people like that. Mm-hmm. There's lots of stories. There's lots of stories and things that people can find out that happen in this country that black people accomplished that you shouldn't have to condense into the month of February, the shortest month. I mean, it's like every day there's some, there's history being made, of people of all races. I don't understand why you have to call it Black History Month and give it a month. Just
Do you feel like they're throwing a bone to the black community just to kind of like
absolutely. It's like, oh, here you go, a month that you guys can celebrate amongst yourselves.
Oh yeah, like okay, you go do whatever you want.
That's not even like, but it's not even like a thing. Like nobody celebrates that. I mean, they try to do things here and there instead of just celebrating it all the time and just celebrating the right dates. You know, It's like, why not? They don't even talk about. Nobody even heard about Juneteenth when we were kids. Black History Month.
I found out about Juneteenth way later, and
as most of us did. And nobody knows. It's just so much stuff, and you know, my lady, she didn't know about all of the Malcolm X stuff either. Most people don't know about all of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, after I learned about that from that documentary, I went in and did my own research because I was intrigued. Like that's history that I would like to know, and it's
history that everybody should know. It's what happened to Muhammad Ali should be in the American history books.
Right. What happened how he refused the draft and
what happened to the Tuskegee Airmen should be in the history books.
Was that based off of like one of the
what do you mean? What do you mean based off?
I'm sorry. Did Spike Lee base one of his movies off the Tuskegee Airmen?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he did. They shooting them up with syphilis for experiments and things like that.
Yeah,
gentleman was all kind of sick.
Yeah, and
you don't learn that in school. You learn about. I'm sorry if I offend anybody, but you hear about what happened, what the Germans did to the Jewish people.
Right.
We learn that, which we should learn about that.
Yeah.
Right. We should learn about that, but we don't talk about slavery in depth in America.
Right.
Yeah. We don't talk about that, so we don't talk about what America did. You know what I mean? I think it'd get a lot of healing if people understood for real what the Africans did, what the Africans went through here.
I feel like there's a certain level or there's a certain extent of shame that America wants to portray upon like school. Like, yeah, they'll talk about American Indians, but
they don't even talk about that enough.
I feel like I learned about a good amount, but then after that, when it came to slavery,
if I've heard actual Native Americans that grew up on reservations say that they don't know their history because of the school systems here.
Oh,
so I can't say I know anything about that. I know less about them. I feel terrible for them.
Right.
How many Native Americans you know?
0.
I know 2. And they don't know each other. You know what I mean?
I don't have a single Native American friend. Right? Yeah, and they don't know each other, like you said.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They didn't been wiped out.
Yeah.
But we don't talk about that in the history books.
Well, I remember learning about that, but then
you learn about them being wiped out?
Yeah.
You learn about it in college or you learned about it in high school?
I would say it was touched on in middle school.
Really?
Yeah.
About them being about a straight up genocide.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then lower on the totem pole was slavery and civil rights.
Oh, man.
And then lower, you know what? It wasn't even talked about in my middle school or high school of Japanese internment camps.
See, that was talked about in elementary school for me. I saw movies on it and all that. But the Japanese got their reparations, so that's neither here nor there.
In fact, my grandmother still has a letter from the president apologizing.
They tell black people their reparations is divisive.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pick yourself up by your bootstraps. They were promised 40 acres and a mule, and they didn't get none of that.
No.
But that should be incorporated in American history.
So instead of making a whole month, it's just like they're
not teaching you anything. They're just saying it's this thing. Here's this thing. That's not even a thing. Nobody, you know what I mean?
So why is it February?
I have no idea.
Oh.
That's what I said. Why don't the dates make sense? You know, you got Martin Luther King's birthday. Is that why?
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Because it's Martin Luther King's birthday. He was one person.
Yeah.
And
albeit an important one, but
of a people who have influenced an entire nation, an entire world. The African American has influenced the entire world in some form. Mm-hmm. You know, from music to acting, to all of this stuff, fashion,
thought, civil rights, all of that.
All of that, just
women's rights,
and and then who is that? Susan B. Anthony. You know, Susan B. Anthony, big women's feminist, but she was even trying to. She even got a speech where she's talking about how you got to put the woman first, meaning the white woman, and the black male last.
Oh.
And this is when she was talking about voting rights and things like that, because the black man had the right to vote before the woman.
Oh.
So they were in an uprising back then, and they don't talk about that enough, right? Mm-hmm. It's just things like that you find out, and you realize that there's audio of her saying this.
Because if they did talk about it enough, we all would know about this.
We would all know about it, and people would understand why people like me get a little annoyed with white feminism. Mm-hmm. I don't hate it. I support you, but you don't support me.
You know what? I can't believe I remember this story. When I was in high school, we had a history teacher named Mr. Wilson, and this was one of the most egregious questions I've ever heard asked of Mr. Wilson while we were in the class.
Yeah.
We were learning about Harriet Tubman.
Uh-huh.
And this gal very obnoxiously just shouted out to the class, "Harriet Tubman, is that woman who made all those hair care products?" And all of us were just like, for real? Like,
well, whoever said that got her that's not egregious, right? Whoever asked that, was this a black person?
Yeah.
So she wasn't wrong in her knowledge, right? She was thinking of Madam C.J. Walker, the first woman millionaire. Madam C.J. Walker, black woman.
Oh.
And you could look that up, right? So that's who she was thinking Harriet Tubman was. That's who she was thinking Harriet Tubman was. Harriet Tubman freed over 1,000 slaves. Said I would have freed 1,000 more if they knew they were slaves. Game. That's what Harriet Tubman said.
Powerful.
Mm-hmm. And she just your classmate just thought Madam C.J. Walker, Harriet Tubman, she mixed it up.
Do you know that out of all the times that I've told that story, I used to tell that story a lot more when I was younger, just because that was circulating around the school, and not a single person made that connection. Nobody ever made that connection from me telling that story.
I know my black history.
Obviously, yeah.
I do. Just because I try to dig in, because it's American history. If I know about Woodrow Wilson, then how am I not gonna know about Madam C.J. Walker? My daughter know about Madam C.J. Walker.
Because you taught her?
Yeah, and and then she went and got the books. And they should do a movie on Madam C.J. Walker. I'm sure one will come one day. But yeah, man, what time you got to get out of here? You got a job to do.
Immediately, yeah.
All right.
I got to work some sound.
That was our Black History Month show.
Yeah.
That was our Black History Month show. This is Dirty Ern, Daniel Oda. Somebody should have told you. I hope you was able to maybe learn something. I hope y'all learned about Madam C.J. Walker today. Go ahead and look her up. She made hair care products. From way back in the day. I'm talking horse and carriage. Dirty Ern, peace.